You asked that China not be involved in this interview, and I'm just wondering why.
Why? Everybody wants to know why. You know what? Because this one is about me, JR. It's not about China or anybody else. It's about 4 weeks from now. It's about 28 days from now. It's about me getting what I want out of this business, and that is becoming the WWF champion.
So you're saying that in 4 weeks at SummerSlam, you will become the WWF champion without China's help?
You're right. I don't need anybody else, JR. This is about me. I don't need to be in a clique anymore. I don't need to be in DX anymore. This is about me. It's about me reaching my goals. You know, and while we're at it, this goes back a long way, JR. This goes back to the clique. This goes back to Madison Square Garden. Me walking in the ring and saying goodbye to my friends.
That's 4 years ago.
You're damn right it's 4 years ago, and every day it's eating a hole in my stomach, JR. Every single day.
Watch your language a little.
What, you want me to shoot with this interview? I'm going to shoot with it. I'm going to tell you how I feel, whether you like it or not. It's about 4 years ago, Madison Square Garden. I walked to the ring to say goodbye to my friends, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels. Who got punished for that, JR? Me. I did. You know why? Because you didn't have the Nobody in the office had that to do it to anybody else. They did it to me. Why? Because I was the easy one. I was the one that would take it. Good old Triple H, he'll rise to the occasion later on. Don't worry about it. He'll come through. We can take care of that now, punish him, get rid of that. He'll come back later. Well, you know what? That makes me sick in my stomach. Every time I look at you guys, it makes me sick to think what you did to me, holding me back. You guys talk about being students of the game. I am the game, JR. There is nobody that eats, sleeps, or breathes this business more than me. And now it's my time to prove that to the world. SummerSlam is my time to take what is mine, and that is becoming the WWF champion.
You know, Hunter, SummerSlam's about a lot more than just you. It's about the WWF title. It's about Jesse Ventura officiating that matchup.
To hell with Jesse Ventura. To hell with The Rock. To hell with Austin. To hell with The Undertaker. I own all their asses. Jesse Ventura, I could care less. You want to promote SummerSlam around him? Go right ahead. But when it's said and done, SummerSlam is about me. It's about nobody else. It's about me. It's about me getting what I deserve in this business, and that is what I want, and that is becoming the WWF champion.
All right. So the Hardy Boys debuted during this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, okay. Can you tell me what you think the Hardy Boys gimmick is?
They were brothers.
Is that as much as you can do? Not the best you can do, mate.
Yeah, well, then when they first came, literally, I think that was the gimmick. They were brothers.
Exactly. I only laugh because I'm like, for real, yeah, for real. That was okay. I think their gimmick, right? Also, but fair enough because then we have defined characters at this time. Was they were high flyers as well. They were cruiserweight high flyers.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, they were, but they weren't like WCW cruiserweight high flyers.
No.
But yeah, they're advertising extreme. Like, yeah, okay. Well, what can you do that's so extreme that other people on your level aren't? Yeah, I mean, they needed their dance partner, so to speak, which are Edge and Christian, to kind of help them become more.
Yeah,
they helped each other, but like like you're saying, the Hardy Boys gimmick was that they're brothers.
Literally, right? They didn't have no gimmick until sort of Doc Hendricks, aka Michael Hayes, became their manager for a bit, so he kind of made him more edgy, and that's into like the.
And then was it afterwards they got rid of him because Gangrel then became the manager. And they were the New Brood.
Yep.
And then after that, they had the Terry Invitational Tournament versus Edge and Christian, the ladder match. Terry Invitational Tournament, by the way, TIT, because, of course, right?
Yeah, clever.
And then she was going to manage the winners.
Yeah.
But she's like twice as old as the Hardy Boys, so it didn't work. Not saying she was twice as old, but like she definitely they were like teens or something like that, right?
That was in her 20s.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I think probably Jeff Hardy was 19 or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, he was quite young. I remember that story because that ladder match was amazing. And then the next night on Raw, they went to have the ceremony for the winners.
Yeah.
And then they meant to win, I think it was like 10 grand or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Gangrel came out and said, well, I've spent the 10 grand and Terry's come with me. And they started laughing. So then the Hardys and Edge and Christian beat him up.
Yeah.
And none of them took Terry's services. And then they were kind of like friends for a bit, the Hardys and Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
Because they split from Gangrel as well.
Until the Dudleys decided to jump in there and go, yeah, we want to fight all of you.
Yeah, and then that's when the greatness of like the ladder matches and all that stuff happened. Yeah. I remember.
I think actually this helped raise the profile of the tag belts as well.
Yeah. That's when they met. Like, yeah, them 3 teams made the tag belts actually mean something.
Yeah.
For many years as well. That's quite a funny thing about it.
Yep.
No one cares.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Do you want to give some ladies some props right now? Even though strange, and I say that not in a bad way, just more of they're not really used in this time period for other than the way they look.
Yeah.
So there's not much to say about them, unfortunately.
It went to about 2001, 2002 when they started actually doing stuff proper with the ladies.
So Trish Stratus with a team of Tess and Albert called TNA. Yeah. And it's just like, right, yeah, okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That been Trish.
Very memorable because it's very odd at the time. Feud that TNA had with the Dudleys, where Bubba Ray was putting women through tables.
Yeah.
And then he did the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
And then she did this promo where she was in her lingerie. I'm putting her hands all over this table. I think about how Bubba you dream of it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
And didn't she have like a fluffy pink table, and then he ended up putting her through or something like that?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember. But all I remember is that promo, and I was thinking, what are they going with it? What have I started watching? Because if I'm watching this with family, I'd have to change the channel.
Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, it's funny when you look at it now, right, as an adult. But if you're watching it as 13-year-old or 10-year-old, I don't even know what's going on, yeah? But if you're in your teens watching this, you're like, I hope my mom and dad didn't come and watching it. If you're parents to kids who are watching this, you'd be like, change the channel right now.
Yeah, this is when you kind of embarrassed to be a wrestling fan moment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Other women during this period.
Yeah, well, Lita was around this time. Yeah. But her gimmick, what was her gimmick? She was the valet to Essa Rios, and she could do luchador style stuff, which was good actually. Yeah. I think that's what got her notoriety because other than that, and she could do moonsault and Hurricane Runners and stuff. She didn't really have anything else.
Nah, not till she somehow got involved with the Hardys and that.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember how that really happened.
I think it was.
I do remember now.
Because there was some weird little mini storyline on Heat where Lita was getting more over than Essa Rios, and then he pushed her or something like that, and then the Hardys came running out and beat him up, and then that's how she joined Team Extreme.
Yeah, something like that, right?
That literally, I was like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, she fit, right? Really well with them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
like,
but yeah.
Okay. It's not that weird now, but yeah.
Yeah. It's just that,
yeah, sure. Okay. That worked out somehow.
Yeah.
Who else?
Go on, what are you going to say?
So there's Jackie, when she was pretty cool.
I don't get her. I think, okay. Right, okay, no, but first, before we get to Jackie, we got to get to someone else, and then we get to Jackie, because it's the transition, okay? So you got Sable.
Yeah.
Whose gimmick with Marvelous Mac. Okay. So this is how I understood it, but not at the time I was watching it. Okay.
Yeah.
You had Mark Miro.
Yeah.
Coming.
Yeah.
Okay, as Wildman Mark Miro.
Yeah.
By the time I was watching it, he was Marvelous Mark Miro, the Golden Gloves, the former Golden Gloves boxer, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But this is when he was turned heel and feuding with Sable somehow, right? He's feuding with that. So when he was Marvelous Mark Miro, when he was Wildman Mark Miro, and and Sable was his valet, they were fine. But I think when her popularity got more than his, I don't know why he transitioned to the boxer because I missed that period, right?
Because I think they found out in real life he was a boxer at some point. And he actually
no, but why from Marvelous Mark Miro?
Yeah, just
was that during the time period that Sable was already splitting from him, or did he just? Was that when they were splitting? I can't.
No, it was during they were together when he transitioned.
Okay, just decided to change to Marvelous Mark Miro for no reason.
Yeah. Okay. It's very some reason behind it, but wasn't that important for me to remember.
Yeah. Okay, so and then he was feuding with Sable.
Yeah.
Who's the Palais? Which whatever. But because she was so popular, I guess they used him to get her over.
Yeah.
But I don't think he cared because he was getting paid money anyways, right?
Yeah.
And so when she left him after all the aggression he dealt upon her, not like he was beating her, just verbal, trying to humiliate her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it always backfired.
Yeah.
She had a tag match. I think was it Mark Miro? No, was it? Did she tag with? She tagged with Edge, I think, against someone, right?
Basically, he got rid of Sable and brought Jackie.
Yeah.
And then Jackie and him were terrorizing her for a bit. So they got a match organized at a pay-per-view. Can't remember which pay-per-view it was. Yeah. And she had a secret partner that no one knew who it was going to be until the night, and it was Edge.
Okay. Yeah. I remember something like that. Anyways, she powerbombed Mark Miro, and he got buried.
Yeah.
Good on him for taking it, though. Good on him for... Like, I think he got paid enough money. Like, his contract was high enough, and he was like, "I'll do whatever." Not that it doesn't matter for him as progression, but he's like, "I'm getting paid enough, anyways, right?"
Yeah.
They can't put me on jobber status because they pay me so much. And if they are, they just pay me they're still paying me the big money to do nothing, to whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somehow, she got over just by titillation.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you had they brought Jackie to counter her. Mark Miro brought Jackie to because obviously I think but it's the weird thing in the Attitude Era where men could hit women, right? Or accident or whatever, right? Because it was edgy. And he brought Jackie in, I guess, to take the beatings from Sable.
I don't even know.
Okay, well, obviously he couldn't have a match with Sable because he couldn't just beat her up and throw her around.
No, because it'd been weird. Yeah,
but what's Jackie's gimmick? What? She was just there to get beat up by Sable?
I think her gimmick was his new manager, his new Sable. I think I don't know. They thought, let's get the opposite. So...
yeah. All right. Fair enough. I mean, yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. All right, I never thought it went like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. But I don't think that even lasted that long, if I'm honest.
I think he also hacked her up, and she turned on him as well.
Yeah,
and then it turns out, Mark Miro, you're the problem. See?
Yeah, I think she powered him too. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Again, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dear. Well, I'm not surprised if the gimmick was that Mark Miro is keeps on pushing women to the point where they strike away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think of the Vinnie Mac character?
Vinnie Mac or Mr. McMahon?
Okay. This is true. Mr. McMahon. Yes.
Mr. McMahon was probably again one of the best accidental creations ever in wrestling.
Yeah. One of the best accidental creations of the
period. Yeah, because obviously that was never meant to happen, was it? But then, due to real life events, they ran with it, and I think he was an awesome heel.
Yeah. And the thing is, as well, he knew, as Vince McMahon knew that Mr. McMahon needed to get his comeuppance.
Yeah.
So, as much as he couldn't get physical at the time, even though he was built that he could, he didn't have the more polished skills. Yeah. But he'd always be a good foil because it's like, it's you against me, Austin, right?
Yeah.
But it's not just you against me. It's you against everyone else.
This. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got massive time.
I did like this character because he did completely. He allowed himself to get humiliated, but he knew that he helped carry the Attitude Era as well.
Yeah, of course. He was a big part of it, so that's why you need to give the dude huge respects.
Yeah, and everyone wants to. Well, not everyone, but you want to support the little man who wants to beat up his boss, and Steve Austin can beat up his boss.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And all the dirty tricks that bosses pull, power plays and stuff, Vince McMahon was doing, obviously on purpose to get those correct reactions that you needed to.
Yeah.
For Austin to be able to beat him up. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
I do remember as well how he'd do all the tricks in the books. One particular instance where I think he was like, Stone Cold, you don't have the balls to fight me. And Stone Cold's like, I can beat you with one hand tied behind my back. You know how it is? Anything to get Vince in the ring, right? And Vince says, all right, I'll hold you to that. I'll have a match with you. You have one hand tied behind your back. And so they tie Austin's hand behind his back, and then Vince starts flexing and everything, and he starts getting kicked around. And then basically just gets... then he gets all this group to ambush Steve Austin. With Dude Love as well.
It was such a good time.
I will say as well, one especially creative bit was, and I think it's overused now, is how, and because this is the first time I saw it, where he had the match with, it was Vince making the match with Dude Love and Steve Austin.
Yeah. And
Vince was the referee. And Vince was like, only my hand shall count the 3 count. So every time, obviously, when Mankind was in the ring, Dude Love was in the ring, and Vince would try to do fast counts. And when Austin was in the ring, he'd do slow counts, and he'd try to count. Well, obviously, he wouldn't try to count Austin out because Austin's got the title.
Yeah.
And he wants Austin to lose, but he'd do slow counts when Dude Love was out of the ring.
Yeah.
And then you're like watching the whole thing because it was quite a good draw to watch the match because you're like, how is Steve Austin going to win this match?
Yeah, how's he going to get out of this? Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, he could lose, but you're like, well, if that's the case, that's the case. But it's just like, how's yeah. So, I think, I can't remember the exact ending of it, but I do remember. So Vince McMahon somehow got knocked down, right? I think maybe Mankind fully tried to hit Austin with the chair and he hit Vince instead. And Vince is gone.
Yeah.
Foley takes a stunner. Austin goes to pin him. No referee round. Austin sees Vince prone dead body. Because you know how you put the referee shirt, all of a sudden your stats disappear.
Yeah. You're incapable of doing anything really. Yeah.
Right. It's like where you got the poison armor.
Yeah.
Then he pulls Vince across to where he is to get to where Mick Foley's down, grabs Vince's hands, slaps the mat, 1, 2, 3, and then he celebrates while Vince is down on the floor still.
Yeah, that's how he got around it. That's very clever.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good way to.
I like how Vince won the Royal Rumble by sitting out like 50 minutes of the Rumble, essentially.
Yep, that was good as well. And they come back at the end.
Yeah. Well, essentially, it was kind of smart though because Vince came in at number 1. No, number 2 was it? No, Vince came in at number 1 because he was like, Austin, I dare you to come to the Royal Rumble at number 2, face me 1-on-1 in the Royal Rumble, because he's trying to get Austin obviously to get thrown out, and obviously if you got a lower number, you're in there for longer.
Yeah.
So Austin makes a mockery of Vince McMahon, chases him to the back. Vince is like, I planned this all along. We ambush him in the men's toilets, and then Vince comes and sits in commentary for like ages.
Yeah, just running his mouth.
Yeah, and then Austin comes back to a big pop during the middle of I don't know what, the later end of the Royal Rumble.
It's near the end.
Yeah, and then I think
he throws out someone, if I remember correctly.
Austin.
I think The Rock comes out, distracts him.
Yeah,
and then that's when what's his name? Vince comes, throws him out. Oh.
Yeah. Which was all. Now Vince has won the Royal Rumble. He's going to place the corporate champion, The Rock, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you do in the Royal Rumble. So a lot of things happen during this time period which keep you engaged because you're like, what is going to happen next?
Yeah.
You know, the rules that they have established aren't being played to here.
No.
So what are they doing? What's their game? Yeah. Vince is like, I'm gonna go face the Rock at Royal Rumble. Of course not, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, who's going to face the Rock at Royal Rumble? And I think Austin agitates him so much. He said, I think I'll put my number one contendership on the line at St. Valentine's Day Massacre in a cage match against Austin, right? Which is kind of a bit of a silly decision because he knows he's going to get beat up in the cage, right?
Yeah.
But this is Vince McMahon we're talking about, who, if you poke him enough,
if you poke him enough, he will do what you. He'll foolishly give in to what you say.
Yeah. But that's only because he can't. He cannot allow anyone else's arrogance to be above his.
Yeah.
Even if you're just playing them full fool. Yeah, I did actually like this as well. This match because obviously it's not going to be a match. Austin was beating up Vince, right? Yeah, going to try and climb the cage. Vince just pulling middle finger out, and Austin comes and beats Vince up more. And but like there is no logic to it when you think of it that way. So Vince, you're basically got this guy, and you're allowing him to beat you up.
Yeah.
Right. And then when he's about to escape, obviously you don't want him to win, right? You're agitating him even further, so he comes and beat you up even more. And how long? I can't remember how long this match was. Yeah.
You were doing right. It was quite. It wasn't lengthy, but it was the main event, so it had time.
Yeah, but it's a strange one because you're thinking Vince is just getting beat up for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then his whole plan is to this is when Paul White makes his first appearance. He comes out the bottom of the cage.
Yeah.
And he grabs Austin and he throws him to the side of the cage, and the cage breaks, and Austin gets out of the like he rolls off the cage onto the ground.
Yeah, no, the cage swings out. And then he just jumps to the ground. It's like, all right.
And then Vince berates. This is when Big Show comes as a heel, right?
Yeah.
Vince berates him, though, next night, saying, how can you do that? You're a fool. You're an idiot. You made him win the match. I'm like, so Vince, you're telling me your master plan, by the way, for this particular segment, for your match, was to get beat up for ages until Big Show decided to make his appearance. And then... What, Big Show's meant to beat up Austin in your stead? I'm not... Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, the rule... Yeah. No one defines the rules of a cage match. But like that was quite an inventive way of getting out. And then getting out of Vince having to be number one contender and allowing Austin to be number one contender.
So I don't know if I remember correctly as well. The reason that match got made as well, because Shawn Michaels was commissioner...
Right,
and I think he set the match. Like
I think he's probably Was it? Now you're playing logic to me, by the way, because you're reminding me of stuff. So Vince says, "Oh yeah, now for my number one contendership because I'm obviously not going to fight The Rock. I just didn't want Austin to win."
A night off at WrestleMania and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then Shawn Michaels like, "Well, if you're not wrestling him, then the person who's number two, the second to last person in the Rumble, is the number one contender, right? That's Steve Austin." And then Vince is scrambling back, saying, no, obviously not. Yeah, and then Shawn Michaels like, well, you know what, Vince? I guess we'll have a cage match then for the true number one contender.
Also, I think if I remember correctly as well, when it comes to that, that the reason why Vince had to do the match was Shawn was like, well, I spoke to the boards of directors or whatever, and they're saying you have to do this. If not, you're off the whatever. So I think that was another thing that sort of drove Vince actually saying yes.
Yeah, a lot of it, I mean, hey, look, they made it make sense.
Yeah, okay? They made it make sense. Yeah,
I mean, sometimes they do stuff and they don't even bother to make it make sense. But here's like they had this is a time period where it seemed to me they had a huge plan of what to do.
Yeah.
Rather than decide a month before, we are going to do this because people have short-term memories, apparently.
Yeah, we do. When we choose to, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you can tell he sat around and thought about stuff rather than.
Yeah, and any other Vinnie Mac member like the Vince McMahon character was really good. It was me all along.
Yeah.
Now, he was the only one, by the way, as Vince McMahon who made sense as that character to command the Undertaker.
Yeah.
But the lead up to it still did not make a lot of sense whatsoever because it's like, so you kidnap your own daughter. The way you're playing it is basically you taunt your own self, right? To get sympathy for yourself, so your greatest enemy will collude with you.
Yeah.
If only to say it was a mind game all along. It was me that was playing games with you.
Like, I get the long con, I get it, but a lot of it makes. It's not just. It's like a weird problem in like any media that this sort of thing. We're like, so you did all this for this payoff.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And I think they were scrambling, by the way, because they didn't suspect. They put in Vince as the last minute substitute because they couldn't find a person that makes sense to be able to be the boss of the Undertaker other than Vince.
Yeah, which makes no sense because it's one of those situations where the easiest thing makes sense, but you're going around the houses to make it more complicated and think about like at the end, oh wait, we had the easy answer the whole time. Why didn't we just go with that?
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So
and then
stupid.
okay, so and this is what the stuff that does make sense, right? So what was it? No, but this is the play to get to the higher power, all right?
Yeah.
So no, hold on. I'm mixing up stuff. Right. So there was a period of time where Vince could not appear on the show, right? Was it a loser leaves WWE match or something like that? I can't remember what it was.
No, I don't think so. I can't, because I think that might be later on. Like,
there was a period of time he could not appear on the TV. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I have to have a look in a second. Maybe as I go through the story, you will remember, right?
Yeah, maybe, hopefully.
So then, oh no, okay. So this is, I think, okay. Here's the thing, right? So after that, so the higher power, right? If I remember correctly, and then it was a ladder match between Steve Austin, Shane, and Vince. No, Steve Austin versus Shane and Vince. That's what I meant, right? Where Steve Austin every time he tried to get to a briefcase, it mysteriously was rising, and they never told you who the guy was doing it.
Yeah, even to this day.
Yeah. But I think, did he win that match? I think he somehow won that match because that's the contract. That was the Vince contract in the ladder match. Wait.
No, I remember now. I might be slightly wrong. Before this, somehow Vince still had his power, but he was on an equal playing field as Stone Cold. 'Cause I think Stone Cold won something for make him co-chairman or something like that to make him he had more power basically.
Yeah.
And then that match was for controlling rights of whatever their title was at the time. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
that makes less sense. But yeah.
Okay. So as I continue in it, but it like obviously correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
So so Austin won that match, right? And Vince that had to be off TV.
No, Austin lost that match with the briefcase. Yeah, because that's how Vince got his power back.
Oh, hold on. So I'm thinking of it just before then.
Yeah.
Because there was a bit where it was obviously a feud against Steve Austin with Vince. I can't remember.
Oh no, the reason why, if I remember correctly now, no. The reason why he was off TV was they played it. I think he got beat up by Stone Cold Sutton. That's when he did the whole vignette where he's in hospital and Mankind's trying to help him get better and stuff like that. And then Stone Cold dressed as the doctor and beats him up with the bedpan. Yeah. Because this will lead up to the corporation, and then yeah.
Okay, no, hold on, wait. Okay, here's what I'm reading, right? Fully Loaded 99. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you're right. This is Steve Austin in the hospital. Yep. With the man, yeah. Okay, yeah, right. And then he broke the man's car, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at Fully Loaded 99, Vince had a stipulation of first blood match between Undertaker and Austin for the WWE Championship. Austin won. Vince would have to step away from the company.
Yeah.
And if Austin lost, Undertaker won. If Austin won, Vince would step away from the company for a little bit.
Yeah.
Ban from the company, whatever. And if Austin lost, he would never receive a title shot for the WWF Championship ever again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Austin wins the match, and then Vince has to disappear from TV. And then I think this is when you started having the mystery of the corporate ministry, right?
Yeah.
So we could be mixing things up. And then Austin, Vince had to come back one time and say, "Oh, you know what? My daughter Stephanie, my baby's getting taunted by these people, but I can't do anything about it because I'm not allowed on, to come to WWE to work out the mystery of whatever, right? I can't even." And then Austin's like, "Well, see, here's the thing with that match that we had. That in the contract, I can ask you to come back. There is a stipulation in it. If I could allow you back in the company, right?" Or something like that. So the long con was to overwrite the contract because Vince was the higher power. Something like that.
Something backwards like that.
Yeah, it was like, all right. So you want to get rid of this guy, fine, right? But then you had stipulation somehow in your contract to allow the guy to come back, and then he manipulated you to use that contract. Right. Vince. Yeah. I don't know. But we could be mixing up two different things at this point.
But
we're trying to make it make sense in our heads, right?
Yeah. That's the best thing we're trying to do.
Yeah. but the Wacky Vince McMahon character, he's quite good. On all the shady stuff he would do.
Yeah, him. Even the Shane McMahon at that period was not likable, but he was a good character at that point as well.
Yeah, I think I prefer Shane then to Shane now.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
I mean,
nothing bad, but yeah.
It's because for a guy who wasn't trained, he could do stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas now, and he would take his losses. Whereas now, he's beating people whose careers are. I mean, this is the weird thing I always say. How can you be a guy whose career is about wrestling? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, depends on a story. I can get around them. Like story-wise, it makes sense for like Shane to win or whatever.
Yeah.
But like other times, it's like that doesn't make any sense. Like not even like story motivational-wise, it doesn't make sense. Like how originally at last Rumble, how he was gonna go toe to toe with Brock Lesnar and stuff like that. Like that makes no sense. Not even storyline-wise, it makes no sense.
Yeah. But, I mean, fair enough. I would actively probably avoid fighting Brock if I had to.
Yeah, any normal man would.
Yeah. And if I got into a fight with Brock, I don't think I would last very long.
No, I just crawl up into a ball and cry.
Yeah. Right? By Brock's entrance, I'm really tapped out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, obviously, if you have to wrestle Brock, you have to wrestle Brock if you're a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not a full-time wrestler, and if you occasionally wrestle like Shane McMahon, you should get battered.
Yeah, you should get murdered.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the one thing. Like, things like that, like, makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
When he had that feud with The Miz recently...
Yeah.
Like, storyline-wise, it made sense. I think he won in the end. But he won by, like, underhanded tactics. But still, that kind of made sense. Right? Yeah.
I did like it, by the way. And I know this is not the Attitude Era time, but we have like just a little discussion. I did like how they kind of tuned up because both their fathers look down upon them. But I think George Mizanin looks down, like jokes around. Like, okay, so the Miz and his dad, their relationship is like comedic. Yeah. It seems like it, as far as you can see in real life. Like the dad doesn't take Miz seriously, even though he's proud of his son. It's like you grow up in a certain environment, and you know your dad's a joker.
Yeah.
So you don't take offense to it, no. But he plays it up, and they both play it up actually. So it's kind of they kind of
But Vince and Shane is a different story. Yeah, that's a odd one.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So as we're going to Vince and Shane and the corporation, Ken Shamrock, world's most dangerous man. Actually, when he came in, he built massively. By the way.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And his gimmick is basically the UFC champion when UFC had no rules except for no eye gouging.
Yeah.
And no push hooking. The only 2 rules they had. And I look at him, I'm like, even if I don't know about UFC, I'd be like, I look at Ken Shamrock, I'm thinking, I buy this, whatever he's like.
Yes, I did for a bit. Yeah.
And then his gimmick was that if you he'll snap, right? If you get to a certain point. And that's why he wouldn't win or would. It's like his superpower, Super Saiyan Rage Up, right?
Yeah.
The whole. But except that it becomes out of control.
Yeah, and not even with that, that's when I was like, all right, his gimmick has a ceiling.
You reckon?
Yeah, because it's like, all right, you've built this guy to be like sort of unhinged and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can only take that so far. And
before people start taking advantage of it.
Not even that. It's like, so unless he's gonna be, even if he's a heel, like he couldn't really be a heel champion, could he? Because like, for example, he won, like when he beat The Rock. Somewhere for the Intercontinental title. So he basically won the Intercontinental title, but because he kept on the ankle lock, they reversed the decision, so the title went back to The Rock.
Yeah, that was the Royal Rumble that we watched.
Yes. Yeah.
I did like that though. I did like that match because it was a chaotic match, but it played to. It was a fast-paced sprint, right?
Yeah.
And then you booed The Rock even more for the ending.
Yeah.
Even though The Rock was the one losing, The Rock lost. He beat up. He was basically dead with a broken ankle, essentially.
Yeah.
But he's still holding the championship on the way, like on this stretch on the way out, because because Ken Shamrock snapped.
But like, you get what I mean, though. It's sort of like couldn't go so far with it. Like,
I did like. Do you remember when he had the match with Owen in the
Lying Den?
No, not that one. Not that one.
Oh, the basement one.
Yeah, the Heart Dungeon one.
Yeah, that was.
I looked at the Heart Dungeon. I was like, that's not a dungeon. But then when you hear the name about it, when you know the history about it, kind of makes sense. But really, is a basement.
Yes, right? It's the basement with pads.
Yeah. But how Owen won was quite funny. I thought because it's like I think they were having their match and then Shamrock snapped or whatever, and then Owen grabbed the dumbbell hit kick. Shamrock across the end of the business.
Yeah.
But cool. The way they built the match was like, it's going to be a submission match because, this is all about the Heart Dungeon, which is about submissions and stuff. That's all we learn. We are the best in, and I'll make him Shamrock tap. And then, no, did he knock him out of the dumbbell and then put him in the sharpshooter?
Yeah, and then he said because he couldn't answer, obviously, because he was passed out. So he won. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Even though I hated Owen for it, I just look at it back at the time and I go, that's actually really, really well done. Owen, such a slimy heel.
I loved it at that point because that's when I was like I still am like a huge Owen Hart fan. I'm like, good, he beat Shamrock. Shamrock sucks.
What did you think of the gimmick itself?
I don't like. It was okay. I don't know, something about it I didn't really like because he didn't really do much besides that, did he? He was just like, I'm spazzing out, and then that was it. Okay,
so you're saying it didn't, potential wasn't enough for you?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't enough for me. I was like, he was cool in the ring, but like character-wise, like I can't latch onto this guy because there's nothing sort of relatable to me. I don't know. I don't know. That's just me. I'm guessing you really liked it.
No, I kind of like the. Right, so he didn't have great mic skills. Okay.
Yeah.
But he did do good promos because I think they were trying to they had to legitimize UFC to legitimize themselves, right? But when you start thinking about the logic of, so this guy's a legit sports fighter, right?
Yeah.
And WWF are sports entertainment.
Yeah.
So couldn't he actually beat up everyone?
Yeah.
And then you had Carmen Mustafa, who's the spring fight machine, but he can't do jack to Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
So where's this going? I did like that he snapped and does stuff, right? But it just, yeah. I don't think he had the charisma to. I mean, physically and physicals, he was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bit too tough sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, it was a sort of a straight talker, but not an entertaining talker. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think that's probably why I didn't sort of connect with it. If I'm honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, Shamrock, great guy.
Yeah.
He was the first Impact. It was not Impact. He was the first TNA champion. Remember that?
Well, NWA TNA champion. Yeah. Because Kurt Angle is officially the first TNA champion, right?
Yes, you are correct. Yes, because when they switched the belt over. Yeah.
All right. Okay. When did you say the Attitude Era ended? Because I don't want to get people that aren't in the Attitude Era and start speaking about them.
I say the Attitude Era ended when the invasion happened, so 2001.
All right, so we're talking still about the corporation, yeah?
Yeah.
Our boy Test.
Dude, I loved Test. I thought it was great. His
Okay,
gimmick
so
didn't make. I don't think he had a gimmick, but
no. His gimmick was that he was the bodyguard for Motley Crue.
Oh yeah.
Now, rereading something that Triple H said, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of made sense now that when. Well, no. Someone said it. I can't remember when. Maybe one of the guys backstage said it. That Triple H said it.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince was like, "This Test guy, he's going to be the new Kevin Nash for me."
Yeah.
And then Triple H goes, "No, that guy, that's no Kevin Nash." And I was like, I mean, it's kind of cruel to say, but when you look at it back at it, like Nash had massive charisma.
Yeah.
And that. Well, no. Okay. Nash had charisma, yeah.
Yeah.
And he had the attitude that fits with his character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had the laid back night skills, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think Test had that. He had the size, and he had a good moveset actually, and it was quite athletic. But I don't think he was the best on the mic to help. When he was silent and not saying stuff, like a true bodyguard, right?
Yeah,
kind of was better. When he started saying stuff, I think he kind of lost the mystique of Test.
Yeah, I'll agree with you because like wrestling wise, he was a hell of a lot better than Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't like take 2 steps and like blow a knee or whatever. But he, like you said, he didn't have that natural charisma like Kevin Nash did. So you're like, oh, Kevin Nash, you're funny and you can talk.
You're a cool guy, Nash.
Yeah. Which Test, he looked cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't give enough mic time and stuff like that, so it wasn't. He didn't really stick out or anything. Yeah. Not till a bit later, but even then it was a bit. But I really liked Test.
What about who was that? Are we including, by the way, the Mean Street Posse as part of
the corporation?
As a corporation?
Yeah, man. Of course, that was a big part of the corporation.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Mean Street Posse now.
Joey
Rodney.
Abs.
Yeah, Joey Abs and Rodney, right?
Yeah.
Rodney didn't even get a surname, by the way.
No. That was hilarious.
So it's Shane's buddies, right?
Quote unquote. Yeah. Actually, I think they actually were real friends in real life. I can't remember.
Except for Joey Abs.
Yeah. It was hilarious.
Yeah, they were just there to get beat up, which was fine.
Yeah. And it made you hate like Shane and that a lot more as well, which was pretty cool. So they did their job.
Yeah. But they were surprisingly capable for people that weren't capable-ish or didn't know
Yeah, I get
whatever.
what you're trying to say. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
I mean, yeah. But the gimmick was basically from the mean streets of Greenwich, Connecticut.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
The meanest things that happen in those streets is probably, some guy is littering. Ooh.
Yeah, that's what made it even funnier, because like you knew it's like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
We all know that they're from like not royalty, but from like rich families, and nothing really menacing happened there. This is hilarious.
Yeah. They were good though for their time.
Yeah, man, they were great.
Yeah, and basically, the gimmick of being Shane's friends, and they're such spoiled brats that
They got everything they wanted.
Yeah, and then but for some reason, the stuff that like is bad to you and me. Well, no, minor skirmishes, right? For example, is played up as something major for them. You know, as a great achievement. Oh, we're not going to open the door for this old person. Ooh, we're evil.
You're like, oh wow, you're not evil, just a douche. But alright, cool, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to pour milk in our tea. Oh no!
You're like,
we take our coffee black. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Living the wild
Stop
side.
them.
Yeah.
Don't stop them.
You're like, wow.
Yeah.
That's the best. I love it.
Oh dear. Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man. I did enjoy his work.
But as prison, so we're not speaking about Prison Guard Big Boss Man.
But
about, even though he is Prison Guard Big Boss Man.
Yeah, we're talking about Private Security Boss Man.
Yeah.
That's what I keep thinking.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way of defining the two periods. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what he dressed like, isn't it? Like someone who was a part of like.
Shield Big Boss Man.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah.
Or when the Shield appeared, they were calling them Big Boss Men.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I liked Big Boss Man.
It was kind of funny how cartoony he was as Big Boss Man, and then when he moved into the action figure, they made him a bit more serious.
Yeah.
But he still did not seem like he could do that much ish.
Yeah. But he didn't seem like a threat though. Like,
yeah.
If he came back in his old Boss Man stuff, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Stuck in the 80s, but he came back looking like of the time and like kind of leaning into corrupt policeman thing. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Good. I like the Boss Man Slam. That was like one of my favorite.
AKA the Black Hole Slam, right?
Yeah. But not as violent, yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I was like, what's Big Boss Man's finisher during this time?
Yeah.
And it was the Boss Man Slam, and they just literally didn't call it anything other than the Boss Man Slam. Fair enough. But there's only two memorable things I can from the Big Boss Man. One, when he got when he had a match cage, the Hell in the Cell against the Undertaker, and got hung, and the next day he strolled out with the corporate ministry as though it didn't happen.
Yeah, I was just trying to bring that up. Yeah, that was one of the fun parts.
Oh no, there's three memorable things. First of all, where he but I'm not sure if would you say this at this point. I think this is still within the Action Era. I can't remember the exact time of it. Where he sliced Al Dog's.
That's Prime Attitude Era. Yeah.
Okay, go. You take it while I try to remember what the third thing was.
All right. Well, he was in a beef with Al Snow, and to try and pretend that he like squashed their beef, he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna cook you a meal. Come to my house and we'll eat together." Blah blah blah. So like, Al was like, "Yeah, cool, that makes sense." And at this time, I forgot a key part here. Al Snow had a dog called Pepper.
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah. So they're sitting at the table eating stew, whatever it is, and Al Snow's like, "This tastes great." Boss Man goes, "Yeah, you know why it tastes great? That's your dog. You're eating your dog." So then Al Snow starts vomiting and stuff and crying because he ate his dog. Even though a key problem of this story right here, now I think about it now, wouldn't he thought like 2 days before this, hey, I haven't seen my dog Pepper in a while. Where is my dog Pepper?
Yeah.
Rather than eating and, oh, my dog's gone missing and now I'm eating it because it's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this ended up in a dog kennel from Hell match.
Yeah, one of the worst WrestleMania.
Yeah, and funny enough, it was a kennel from Hell match. Not in the way that they meant it though, because they were meant to be attacked. There was a cage, there was the ring, there was a cage, and there was another cage, right? The Hell in the Cell cage.
Yeah.
And you had to climb that, and then the dogs were meant to
be barking and stuff.
Yeah. So they were so chill.
Yeah. It would end up like humping each other or crapping on the floor.
Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah. By the way, now before we get to the third most memorable thing I remember at this time of Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
Do you remember? So you know his 80s music. Hard times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was one where the corporation beat him up and left him. I can't remember exactly what it was, right? And then he came out to a remix version of that.
Oh wow.
For one episode, and then it turned out they tricked whoever it was, because obviously, you know, they're smarter than everyone, or Vince maybe threw money at him and he basically said, oh, okay, I'll change the side. Anyways, but that was a bit funny when you hear him come out to his normal theme music, and then his remix Hard Times theme music.
I have another memory of him.
Yeah, you're probably going to go to you say it, but I reckon you're saying the one that I'm going to say in a second. Go on.
Is it to do with someone's father's funeral?
Yeah, you're a bastard, and your mother said so.
Yeah. Oh, I'll quickly go through this story because it's hilarious. So, I don't know if it's I think this is sort of mixed with real life as well. Cause I think the Big Show's dad.
No. Big Show's dad died years before.
Yeah. But they played it as like his dad recently died.
Yeah.
So. Again, he was in a beef with the Big Boss Man. No, Big Show, Big Boss Man. You have to have beef because of your names. So, Boss Man...
Wait, just like when Big Papa T and Booker T feuded over the initial T.
Yeah. Things people feud over. Boss Man crashed the Big Show's father's funeral, tied a hook to his dad's casket and drove off with it. While the Big Show was holding on to it, crying.
And then he got slung off it.
Yeah. And then I think the next night on Raw, or a couple of weeks later, Boss Man comes out with like DNA tests saying, yeah, that guy you thought was your father wasn't really your father. You're a bastard and your mum...
No. It wasn't even that. He interrogated Big Show's mum.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't even on Raw. That was like on a thing which they had a private camera for. And he goes, I come up with the DNA sequencing of whatever. And you're going to tell me this man... who you married, is not the father of Paul Wright, and then and you don't know who the father of Paul Wright is, and then he said, when she said yes, because obviously, she got broken by the police interrogation.
Yeah.
He turns to the camera because the camera's been there all along, but the Big Show's mom doesn't know. He goes, "See, Big Show, you're a bastard," and your mama said so. I'm like, what?
That is so petty.
I'm like, why?
I was
Whatever.
Like, Big Show has every right to kill you. I mean, this is what you've done.
So I think this is during the time period where Big Show won. This is during the time in they had Survivor Series where Austin took his car crash. Big Show was the replacement. Big Show wins the title and he hugs the title like it's his, because it meant everything for him to win to his father, for him to win the WWF title.
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, and then the next night, the next pay-per-view, he was supposed to have a match against Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, which he just destroyed him, I think, right?
Yeah.
And that was the payoff to that. And then, 2 weeks later, not even at the Royal Rumble, by the way, 2 weeks later, Triple H beats the Big Show for the title.
Yeah,
right?
He didn't have a real long length,
no.
did he? No.
But I think they were saying that obviously the Triple H storyline, I can't remember who he was feuding with. I think it was against The Rock. Takes prominence because Triple H needed the title, but then, whatever.
Yeah, it kind of made sense to me at the time. I was like, yeah, you kind of bundled the Big Show at this moment, but then you tried to course correct, but then you didn't course correct. Yeah, it was a whole mess. But he had a lengthy run off of that, rest of 20 years. So, yeah. Good Big Show, one of the Big Boss Man, one of the more controversial but non-controversial characters. He's not by himself. He's not controversial, yeah. But they had him do some really, really bad stuff that you're like,
Oh man.
Yeah, and the stuff now, like, because of like the sort of stuff that's happened the last couple of years, doesn't age well. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
no. No, you must be getting paid so much because they didn't get World with title reigns for that, right?
Yeah.
You must be getting paid a lot to be able to or you're such a humorous guy, right? That you're like, you know what? Fine, I'll do what you ask. I mean, you must know at a certain point in your career is gonna make a turn that you can't come back from.
Yeah.
But I think as well, he was getting to his 40s at that point, and it was like, well, all right, might as well stretch this out as long as I can.
Yeah, good for him for doing that. Like,
Yeah.
His character didn't ever really feel out of place anyway, because they modernized it. It felt alright.
Yeah. But I would say that the stuff that he did, now looking back at it, is so cartoonishly evil. It's over the top.
Yeah.
But back then, at that time period, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You take his things too far, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But what was good about it, how quote unquote edgy at the time this era was when Kurt Angle appeared, and he was a throwback to the good old American babyface.
Yeah.
They booed the hell out of him.
Yep.
Right, and this was on purpose, by the way, because you know how sometimes they try to put face like Rocky Maivia, right?
Yeah,
and he got booed. Okay, but this they knew what they were going for here. Yeah. And I liked Kurt Angle during this time. Yeah, he could do stuff. And he was comedic. He didn't take his... Kurt Angle, the man, does not take himself too seriously. Oh, he did take himself too seriously because he was like, wait a minute, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I should be everyone, right?
Yeah, you're like...
And they're like, no, that's not how wrestling works.
Silly boy.
Yeah. So so he was a joker right away. You look at this guy, he's such a goofball, but then he could win and do stuff, not as a hardcore wrestling machine as he would be later on.
Yeah,
but just like he's quite capable actually.
Yeah, he was quite legit.
Yeah,
but like also because they made his character's kind of gullible as well, because that kind of fit with the whole thing as well, and like he was that sort of innocent fish out of water sort of thing, which worked.
I did remember the time that one of the more memorable things from him during this time, other than the 3 I's, integrity, intensity, and intimidation, but I don't think that's right.
No, intelligence.
Intelligence. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. How he had he didn't really have an affair. Okay, so Triple H was feuding with Kurt Angle save Stephanie, and they were having a Kurt Angle was into Stephanie, but Stephanie had to choose between Triple H and Kurt Angle.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then it led on to, and then this is how Triple H got his face turned. By the way, they had Kurt Angle basically trying to hit on his woman, right?
Yeah.
But this particular bit I remember because Triple H, like there was supposed to be a triple threat match with The Rock, Triple H, and Kurt Angle for the WWF title.
Yeah.
And Kurt Angle came out, Triple H came out, and then Triple H beat him up and tried to pedigree him through a table from the very beginning of the match, except the table collapsed.
The botch bit,
right.
Yeah.
And then Triple H stalled for a little bit while he went to blatantly check on Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Because this is like, you're like, huh? Why is this guy caring about the other guy? He hates him.
Yeah. Like...
But he had to, and then The Rock came out, and then the Triple H and The Rock basically had to. They obviously planned to do that segment without Kurt Angle because they would have got pedigree through the table anyways.
Yeah.
But they didn't know if Kurt Angle would come back later on to finish the match.
Yeah, because he was concussed or something, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, because they basically sat him up, took the pedigree, sat up on and they sat him up on a chair afterwards.
Yeah. Back in the day when they didn't really care much about.
Yeah, when safety wasn't a concern.
Yeah.
And this is where Rock had the title reign. And he supposed to have a long title reign because it was promised. Because obviously, when he had his first 3 title reigns, they lasted like a week or 2 weeks.
Less than a month, yeah.
Each, yeah.
Yeah.
Or in total, are you saying?
No, I think like each reign was like less than a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because Kurt Angle continued the match after being concussed, they were like, let's reward him for his integrity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they had to find a period of between the Rock's reign to give Kurt Angle a title reign, then transition it back to the Rock so they could get to the WrestleMania match with Rock versus Austin.
Yeah.
So 4 weeks of Rock's long title reign was eaten up by Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Oh, where Rikishi did it for the Rock.
I did it for the Rock.
Yeah.
And
the explanation for the explanation for that was, oh, do you want to go to Too Cool first, and then Rikishi,
and
then
Too
go?
Cool. Yeah, because that all ties into it, isn't it? Yeah, Too Cool. A good gimmick for its time. I enjoyed it.
Wait, but it's strange when you look at it because you're like, how did these guys get so over?
Yeah, because
I think because they were over. They were engaging and they were quite fun and they were completely over the top, but you couldn't help but like them for their stupidity.
Yeah,
and they kind of transitioned that to being. They took the less of the more obnoxious elements and toned them down.
Yeah, because when they first came out and they were heels, when they were too much,
then
it became too cool. I think if Rikishi didn't join, that gimmick would have went,
somehow these two guys were, Rikishi somehow, I don't know what it was, but so you had that, and there's really not much to say other than them dancing, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And trying to be down with the hip hop culture.
Yeah. Grandmaster Sexay.
Yeah,
and Scotty Too Hotty. With the worm, by the way, which somehow paralyzes you to inability to move. And realistically, you could have pinned the guy before you finished the worm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because of the Phoenix Splash by the time you've done the worm.
Yeah.
Oh, evolution.
Yeah. So, Rikishi joined them. And somehow they got really popular, right?
Yeah. Because Rikishi was cool. Because when Rikishi first came in, they kind of made him like the silent, just giant thing.
Yeah.
And then when he came out, because I remember he came out to help them against someone, and they were kind of confused.
Were you sure? I'm not sure if they had it was a 6-man match. All we know is this, right? Too Cool would have dances with their teammates if they won.
No, the dance. Yeah.
And then the one time they had it with Rikishi, they got loads of cheers. So then they somehow got some, like, they lucked into it, and they continued it.
I think that's about right. Because I remember, because no. They done it with him. They went to the dance, and he didn't do it. He walked off. I remember this now. And then they had a match with someone, and then he came out and helped, and then he went to walk away, and they like hold him back. Wait, stay there. And they gave him the glasses, and then he put them on. Then they did a dance together, and then they became Too Cool, like properly. Yeah.
But then later on, so someone ran over Steve Austin, and it took about a year for the mystery to get resolved, right? At least the mystery was resolved because we still don't know who ran over Kevin Nash in the Hummer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Even though there were suspicions. Anyways. So everyone thought it was Triple H. Triple H goes, no, it wasn't me. And then Mick Foley did an investigation where only The Rock's DNA, only The Rock's fingerprints were found in the car. And then he accused Rikishi, and somehow it was right. And Rikishi says, yes, it was me. I did it for a Rock. And you're like, so nobody says, you're telling me everything is anti proof, yeah? And yet somehow the guy admitted it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he did it for The Rock because he was saying about how wrestling is all about the Great White Hope.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
That reason, when it that kind of made sense. So you kind of buy it, but then later turn made no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And funny enough, wouldn't that be more something like what Farouk in the Nation of Domination would say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get away with more?
Yeah.
But
even if they got someone else who was of a different race or whatever to do run over Steve Austin for The Rock. Would have made more sense. But because, like, at that point, Rikishi was, like, part of, like, the hottest thing in wrestling at that point. Like, too cool. He was, like, they were over and everything. So why would you heel turn him?
Well, no. It took a year for him to reveal his heel turn.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, but why pick him? I get it, because, like...
He's related to The Rock.
Yeah, he is. But, but... Yeah, I don't know.
And then I think the other thing was also there, where he did it, right? But Triple H was the man behind the man. And so Triple H got all the heat.
Yeah, which
makes
no sense.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it just been Triple H all along?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It made no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
then it's kind of the whole, like, sorry to use this as a weird analogy, God in the Galaxy film when Jax is like, yeah, I need to beat Ronan because he killed my family, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, they're like, oh, Ronan's dead now. What are you going to do? He goes, oh, I need to kill Thanos. We're like, okay, what?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like, you want to kill the person who made that person kill your family, but realistically, shouldn't your whole beef be with then that main person who told the... Yeah, you know, whatever. Right in.
All right. Okay, so just a couple more, and then we'll I know. Steve Blackman, right? Some of these people will be like, "What their gimmicks and what's going on?" Right? But Steve Blackman.
What is Steve Blackman's gimmick? Checking.
He's a martial artist. That's what I got.
I got that he was just Steve Blackman. That was his gimmick.
All right.
Like,
Fair enough.
He did martial arts, and his name was Steve Blackman. There's nothing much more to his
and
character.
And he's a lethal weapon. He didn't have much of a character, to be honest.
No, but he was legit. But yeah, he didn't have much of a character.
Well, he was legit, but at the same time, it's like they didn't. In the world of wrestling entertainment, whether you're legit or not doesn't help you.
Yeah, that's been proven, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, no, it does and doesn't help you, depending, right?
Yeah.
But it's more of how entertaining of a character you are.
Yeah.
And I don't think he had the mic skills. This is more like the silent type.
Yeah. But like when he joined with Al Snow to become Head Cheese, that was pretty cool because he like had more of like comedic bits to him. And Al Snow did everything else. So yeah, I think worked.
But the other thing that would have helped him. Here's the thing. Lance Storm, I liked when he was like, if I can be serious for a minute, and it absolutely no sense of humor.
Yeah.
Right. And if Steve Blackman also was the same, for example, like if they used that gimmick for Steve Blackman, like obviously because Lance Storm is in WCW during this time.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like he's humorless, right? He just comes in to just like you can't make him crack or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
That worked for this guy probably. If he doesn't say much and he just looks like he's he's so dead inside.
Yeah.
Like he's the lethal weapon just here to fight, kind of ish. Not quite, but you know what I mean. You'd have to involve it slightly, but it's just like, and every time they do something like when Lance Storm was like, your unhinged shenanigans are not tickling my whatever he's saying.
Yeah. He's smart wordage.
Yeah. It's just basically saying you ain't funny.
Yeah.
Even though it was funny,
If I could be serious for a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I like Lance Storm during that time, by the way, even though because he was so serious, he was anti-serious.
Yeah, that was cool.
Even though that's not the attitude of it.
No, that was a bit later, wasn't it? Yeah.
All right. Do you remember the Job Squad, the JOB Squad?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 life, right?
Yeah. They were not around long enough for me to actually care.
Yeah. And they were just a bunch of jobbers as well, to be fair.
Yeah. Which kind of...
Al Snow, Too Cold Scorpio, Bob Holly.
Yeah.
Exactly what were there just to get pinned and beat up. And then acknowledge that they're there to get pinned and beat up.
Yeah.
The Blue Meanie and Gilbert joined. And other than them being there to get pinned and beat up, there was nothing else to them.
No.
Until I think Crash Holly and Bob Holly. No, Bob Holly transitioned to be a super heavyweight in the hardcore division.
Yeah, because I remember he was sort of... I remember how he turned to Hardcore Holly as well, because he was part of the Job Squad.
Yeah.
And then one match, like one day Al Snow just like snapped and he was like wrestling himself, putting himself on the table and stuff. And Bob Holly come out and goes, "What you doing? If you want people to take us seriously, why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
And then Al Snow kept on doing what he was doing. So Bob Holly just literally turned around, got a chair and like smacked him in the head.
Yeah.
And then he had a match with him the next week on Raw, I think, like murdered Al Snow, and then he dubbed himself Hardcore Holly because I think Al Snow was sort of like a hardcore legend at this point as well. And because he did that, he was like, I beat a hardcore legend, so I'm Hardcore Holly. Then he became Hardcore Holly and kept on changing his weight whenever he wrestled someone.
Yeah. I think these guys, like the 24/7 Hardcore Championship helped certain people a lot during this period.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't help other people during this period because it's one of those titles, right? That works at the time, but you can't always have hardcore matches, but you can have silliness.
Yeah.
I think as well, like the periods in the hardcore title's career, right? That people like The Undertaker, for example, had a reign in the middle of it, which was a good, solid, actual title reign.
Yeah, but that was kind of after the Attitude Era, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so that's when he was American Badass. No, Big Evil, sorry.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I know Jeff Hardy had it. Road Dogg had it. So did Billy Gunn at some point.
Yep.
Pretty sure everyone had it at some point. Like every mid-carder at that point had it, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was fun. Especially like you said, the 24/7 part of it was pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
what do you think of the Stooges? Gerald Briscoe and we kind of missed them out from the corporation
bit. They were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't as good as like the Mean Street Posse or any of that.
Well, yeah, I think because they were older, they kind of were, but they kind of weren't, right? They were better than Mean Street Posse in certain respects because they were wrestlers, right?
Yeah.
And they knew not to take themselves seriously, but they couldn't do the stuff that the Mean Street Posse could for, like, because they're way older.
Yeah.
They can't bump so much, but they had a bra and panties match between themselves somehow.
Yeah. Because, like, to me, it was like too the stuff they got them to do was like more humiliation rather than like wrestling. It was like, there's only so much of that you can sort of like take before it seems like it's bullying. Yeah, I mean, like, this is weird.
Any other particular memorable? Like, I think we've built quite a lot of gimmicks, right? That we can speak about, because there's probably some like gimmicks and stuff that we have nothing to say about, so we kind of just let them slide. I mean, there's people that basically come in as jobbers and then they do nothing with and just get disappeared. You're like, there's no point in speaking about them unless they did something that you remember.
Yeah. One I remember slightly because it was so random. It happened for a minute and then kind of forgot about.
Yeah.
William Regal when he was the Real Man's Man.
Yes.
That lasted like a month and then disappeared. I think he got injured or something happened to him. Well, he had like personal things going on. Then he came back as the normal William Regal.
Yeah, I didn't get that Real Man's Man gimmick. I don't. He's a Real Man's Man, right? Fair enough, but with that theme music, when you come out and so I remember all. Okay, if I'm watching it now and I see this, right?
Yeah,
I'll be like, this character's over the top. It's amazing. But back then, you're like, so you see William Regal. He doesn't look super tough, by the way.
No.
William Regal himself, right?
No.
But he's trying to make an over the top menacing face. He's shaving his stubble with flint rock.
Yeah.
He's using cranes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cutting the trees down with his axes. He looks like a plumber combined with a farmer, right?
Yeah.
Because he has a hard hat on as well.
Yeah.
And then come out to like Steven Regal and he's looking at the camera. Yes, a real man's man. I'm like, right.
Yeah.
And then when he comes out to
I remember one of them, like one of the vignettes, where he gets an orange, squeezes all the juice out, and then drinks the juice from that in a cup. I was like, what? Okay, sure.
And so then there's like Steven Regal, a real man's man.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm gonna type in a real man's man to see what I get popping up because I'm not exactly sure what that saying is meant to mean.
But like the thing to me, looking back at it now, like what makes no sense is all right. They kind of dress him like a lumberjack and stuff like that, which is known in America, yeah.
Yeah.
But dude's an English guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, is that some weird rib or some? It makes no logical sense. Like if they made him like a English tough guy sort of thing, okay, that makes sense. But to make him a real man's man in, I don't know.
So I've got here I've put a real man's man meaning, right?
Yeah.
And there's a man's man, a man who is more popular and at ease with other men than women. He looks offended by the term he's perceived as a man's man. I'm like, right? Is this Urban Dictionary or actual dictionary? First of all, right? Yeah. But Urban Dictionary gives me a man who's sexually desirable to gay and bisexual men, even though he's not usually gay or bisexual himself. I'm like, right? So I'm not exactly sure what a real man's man
especially in 1998, what that means. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
And I can tell you, Steven Regal probably the look in the way he does there is not whatever a real man's man is.
No. Like, were they trying to make him like the ultimate man? But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the ultimate male is not that type of man, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's broken. Okay, sure. Well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's us.
Yeah.
Winding down this episode.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, there's stuff that I don't know. It's kind of fringes of the attitude. Okay, do you remember Meat?
Yeah.
Sean Stasiak, aka Meat.
Yeah.
And the only thing I remember about him was he had one time had a match on Heat against Big Boss Man where they put so he was getting used so much by the PMS, the Pretty Mean Sisters, by the way, which is Jackie,
Tori,
and
someone else,
and Terry.
Yeah, wait.
They ended up putting Viagra in his drinks or stuff like that because they using like a piece of meat, right?
Yeah.
And to confect during the match.
Yeah.
And he was wrestling with Trunks as well. Not the Dragon Ball character Trunks.
No.
Right. He was wrestling with Trunks against Big Boss Man, and Big Boss Man then, as he was losing for some reason, and he got his nightstick. First scored that critical hit. It's the best way I can put it. And then Meat curled up and because he was so hurt, and Big Boss had got the pin. I was like, right? I'm not. Yeah, I mean, Vince Russo, you are a joker. I mean, like that stuff is like detracts from your career, though.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Sometimes the stuff they do, they think, oh yeah, you get your 5 minutes of fame, but you got to do but then what happens to your actual career afterwards? You know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you got to like leave, go to Mexico to like re-establish yourself, stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, not everyone can do that. So,
yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of women that are more like the one and done characters.
Yeah.
But we don't speak about them because literally they're just there to one and done. Yeah. And then you're like, there's nothing to say anything about.
No.
What's the point? Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah. But yeah, so are we going to conclude this episode on Meat?
Trying to think of it. Someone else better we can.
Or just for the wackiness of the Attitude Era, we should just leave on Meat as the last thing we say.
Yeah.
Because it fits the time period.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sadly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that is us for this. Wow. Quite a long episode actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the Gimmicks of the Attitude Era, and then, when you're watching it at the time, when you were watching it and I was watching it at the time, I guess some of this stuff doesn't make any sense until you're older, and then you go back through and you're like, oh my goodness, it makes a lot of sense. Except that
why?
yeah, exactly. Then you're thinking why they did it.
Yeah.
Why they decided they need to do it or whatever. Yeah.
It also makes me like, when we do things like this, but looking back at like things in action and stuff, I'm like, it's not as great as like fans nowadays like crave for it. Like, oh yeah, actually it was this great, blah blah blah. Like, no.
Yeah.
There's more work. There's like more bad than good when you think about it.
I mean, some of the stuff was super the top offensive.
Yeah.
That I would laugh at it now.
Yeah.
But back then, you're like, I'm not even sure exactly what your goal was with this whatever you was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find those things. The more and more I look back at Attitude Era, the less I like it. Sadly.
Okay. Yeah, it's fair. That's fair enough.
Yeah, because like, not to go on a rant or anything. Like, because now I'm sort of like more into like the actual wrestling aspect of wrestling.
Yeah.
Rather than these weird, outlandish stories that make no sense.
This entire period, all right, is the more of the entertainment aspect of wrestling.
Yeah.
And then you can also see why people look. Okay, as much as the years before it, where it was more like, oh, wrestling is quote unquote fake, but more like predetermined, right? It's not an actual sport.
Yeah.
And people look down upon it.
Yeah.
Now, this sort of time period, people will look down upon wrestling, saying wrestling is trash.
Yeah.
Trash TV entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you're only half wrong there.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not even the wrestling half or the trash half because they really brawled.
Yeah.
And it is trashy, but it's just like, yeah. I mean, it is entertainment though. It is still sports entertainment, and it is still kind of fun at certain points.
Yeah.
Because you get the good and the bad in certain episodes, and sometimes you'd be like, wow. Yeah, the amount of tonal shifts.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the guy who entered the Royal Rumble 3 times under 3 different gimmicks. CY Chung.
And I am the real man's man, Carl Charles. Because it makes no sense to me. And I'd like to thank you all for listening to us talk about the gimmicks from the Attitude Era and our takes on them, if they've aged well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you were a fan of wrestling during the Attitude Era, or you're someone who went back and started to watch it for reasons I don't know, let us know.
Maybe all the hype, you know?
Yeah, you want to see
people do reminisce about it. But...
Yeah, way too much.
Yeah.
Let us know. Has any of your thoughts changed on the Attitude Era? Has it made you dislike modern wrestling more, or made you appreciate modern wrestling more? For me, it's made me appreciate modern wrestling more. But let us know in the comment section if you're listening / watch. And if you're listening to this through the modern other way, through like headphones for a podcast, obviously, leave us a review and share and like this with your friends. If you've got any questions, let us know. And yes, until next time, I'd like to thank you guys for taking us on a trip around the multiverse. Bye.
They're taking us.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you start doing that because,
Okay.
Help. I don't know. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.
Finally, The Rock has come back to Indianapolis. Triple H, let The Rock understand this for a second. Last week on Raw, he beat your ass in a cage match. And now this week, you're the #1 contender for the WWF title? Well, The Rock realizes why that is, because you got a 3-foot nose, you turn it sideways, and stick it straight up Vince's ass! Triple H, The Rock says, at this pay-per-view fully loaded, #1 contender or no #1 contender, The Rock is gonna do to you exactly what he does best, and that's lay the smack down on your candy ass! Now, on to badass Billy Gunn. The Rock understands what took place. The night you won King of the Ring, you got down on your knees, put your little hands together, and you said a prayer, and it sounded like this. Oh, dear God. You see, my name's Billy, and I just won King of the Ring, but there's one problem. Everybody still thinks that I absolutely suck. And then at that point, Billy, your house started to shake, the heavens opened up, and God himself spoke to you and said this, Bob, but my name's Billy. It doesn't matter what your name is. You are absolutely right. You do suck. But there is one thing and one thing only you can do. You must go find the man who is simply electrifying. You must go find The Rock. Oh, but God, anybody but The Rock. Know your role and shut your mouth. And then, Billy, as fear went through your body, tears went down your cheek, and piss rolled down your leg, your house started to shake again, the clouds parted, the heavens opened, and what seemed like millions of voices all said to you in unison, Jabroni, if you smell what The Rock is cooking.